Hello, good morning in Hong Kong time. Now let me review my bearish position on the S&P 500. This is the daily chart and that is the review of my area count. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 motive wave down, and now the ABC returned a kind of correction, and it seemed to be at the top of the correction, but it's still not very certain because it hasn't reached the level of 31.8. So they still have a risk to me that it will go up. Who knows? But I will still keep my bearish position, and I will explain to you why, according to the prospect theory. Okay. The next is a review of my ghostly pattern, and it seems to be quite accurately that it falls after hitting the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud. And so it could be a valid ghostly pattern, and also stochastic also pointing down. And if a stochastic is going to work, that it will go down somewhere and then up again. This is the astrology, and yesterday there was a down bar, and it was coincide with let's call it Jupiter conjunct Pluto. And in the 2 days later, 3 days later, there will be another event. It's the Mercury will square the Pluto, and that's for sure not good for the market. But in the meantime, it may up and then down again. Nobody knows. But by the end of the month, Mercury will change the sign, and then in the Taurus, there will be another kind of swing. Nobody knows will swing up or down, because astrology cannot tell you the direction, but can tell you that it will be a kind of swing, a violent swing, and we can predict on which date. And that is another daily chart. There's something new, and I added with the Gann chart, the Gann fan, and you can see it's quite in line with the fan that it declined and then up, and that will be a resistance of this Gann line. And if combining with the Fibonacci 61.8, then possibly the top will be here rather than here. But I would not close my bearish position. I would just see whether we really reach here before we go down or what. This is a short time frame, that 4-hour chart, and we can see that there is a changing of course. Okay, this means from this rising trend, now they have a trend down. Of course, if we ignore this one, you can see there's still a kind of trend up. Who knows? But and also there is a fractal appear here that seems that it's the bottoming, and it may go back to this. Nobody knows. And we can take a very wide perspective that a monthly chart back to the year 2011 is basically following the Gann chart. It go up to this Gann line, and then the fall, there is support here, and as you can see that although it's due to the coronavirus and due to the negative oil price, it seems that it's a huge drop, but actually it's only about 50% correction. It's quite normal for stock market. And now they're back. No matter what, there is a resistance here. So it seems to be reasonable for me to close the bearish position, because now I have, although with the little drop, I already have a 20% gain because of the high leverage, but I decided to keep it, and I put a stop loss at my purchase price, and I say if working unfavorable to me, I will have no loss, but no gain, of course. that are kind of risk-free investment. And I mentioned earlier this kind of decision is so-called prospect theory, and I would like to read out the definition of this theory. Okay, now suppose I use this chart. Now I keep the position here and I got some gain, about 20% gain due to my high leverage. If I close it now, I would take the money and put it in my pocket. But that is called against the prospect theory. Prospect theory states that faced with a risky choice leading to gains, individuals are risk averse, preferring solutions that lead to a lower expected utility but with a higher certainty, a kind of concave value function. So uh, it's human nature to close it and get a gain, but it's against the prospect theory, and so I believe on that economists I will keep it and see what happens in the future. In the few days, I may have more gain, or I just lost everything. And I mean, I lost all my gains, but I still keep my capital. That's for today.